Old candlesticks, new charm. Today I'm turning secondhand finds into stylish statement pieces that you'll actually want to show off. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name's Melissa. I think that you're going to really love the way these beautiful candlesticks turn out once I'm finished giving them a makeover, so let's go ahead and get started. These are some candlesticks that I thrifted a while back. It's been a while, and I actually had them in my booth, and they just never sold. They appear to go together because they have the same thing around the middle, but they have the two different colors. So maybe that's why they didn't sell. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these off, and I'm pretty sure they're hot glued on. This is just wrapped with twine, so I'm just gonna run the hot glue on it, try to take these off, and then we're gonna give these a bit of a makeover. I have sanded all of the residue off, and there is a sort of lip on where the twine was. So I'm gonna have to make sure that I cover that, and it's on both of them. Now I don't have a mold, trim mold that is that wide. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this mold and this mold, and because they kind of blend together. So I am going to use my air dry clay to create a mold to go around each candlestick where that twine was. For the castings, I put in some cornstarch in the area where I'm gonna put the air dry clay, and then I just roll it into a little snake, and I put the clay into the area, and then I just kind of press it in. Once I get it into the space, then I use my finger or my thumb to start rubbing outward in an outward motion against the edges until I get all of the excess out. And then once I get all of the excess out, then I turn it over and just kind of roll it out. And that's as easy as it is. And I went ahead and made two of this same mold, and just did the same process both times. All right, I think I've decided to go with the same mold just because this is a little wider than what I thought it was. And so the two together are gonna fit better. So now I'm just gonna use some wood glue to attach the mold castings to each candlestick. So yeah, I'm just gonna get that done. Now for this one, I am gonna have to make an extra one just because this one is a little bit bigger and it doesn't go quite all the way around. So I am gonna have to make just a little bit extra to fill in that extra space. So let me show you. I'm gonna get this down. And when I put it down, I am gonna make sure that I get it pressed. I'm not gonna press too hard, but I wanna make sure that it comes in good contact with the candlestick to try to avoid, any cracks as much as possible. So, and then once I get both of them on, then I will put a little bit of painter's tape just so that they can adhere properly. There is a little piece on the bottom of this that's chipped off. So I'm just gonna use some wood filler and just put some here, and then once it's dry, I will sand it to make it even. And then by that time, it'll be time to kind of paint over it. While that's drying, I'll actually start painting the other one, but let me go ahead and get some wood filler in this. I don't have any candlesticks in my booth that are green, so I'm gonna use the Waverly chalk paint in the color Moss. I did do 2 coats of the paint, and then around where the castings were, there were a few spots that needed some extra touch-ups after the second coat. All right, now I'm gonna put some clear wax on this, but before I wipe any back, I'm gonna put antique wax, especially around the creases and around this area, but I'm gonna avoid this area because I'm gonna put that medallion back on, and I don't want the wax to keep it from adhering. So I'm gonna kind of avoid this area. So I'm gonna get all of that done, and then I'm gonna move on. And as you know, if you've watched my videos before, I like playing around with the waxes. I do the clear wax, don't wipe any back, and then I use the dark wax so that it gives me more room to play around with the dark wax, keeping that clear wax on there. But once I do that, then I just kind of keep playing around with it and wiping it back, wiping it back until I get the kind of the finish that I want and kind of the way it looks good to me. And here it is after I have finished, and I don't know why the camera seems kind of cloudy, so I apologize for that. But I feel like in between the moldings, it needs a little something. So I'm using actually this floral wire, which has this kind of gold finish on it. I know it sounds weird, but hear me out. I'm going to take it and I'm going to twist it because it needs to be a little wider, but I'm going to twist it and it's going to fit in between those 2 molds perfectly, actually, but it's not the right color. So I'm going to use this Spanish copper rub and buff, and I'm going to sort of paint the rub and buff on the wire with a paintbrush, and it's going to sort of be the same color as that medallion, and it's going to actually match really nicely. So here I am just twisting that together, and I'm going to tie, and then I'm going to paint it. Once I get all that rub and buff on there, then I'm going to wrap it around the candlestick and then basically twist the ends together where the front is going to be, where that medallion is going to go on, and I'm going to twist tie it together. Then I've got this medallion that came on it originally, and I'm going to use the antique gold rub and buff. I just want to brighten it up just a little bit. So I'm going to use the antique gold rub and buff, just sporadically here and there, put the rub and buff. I don't really want it to be perfect, and put that on there. And then once I get it the way I like it, I'm going to use some E6000 on the back and attach it to the front of the candlestick and kind of hold it in place for a few seconds, and then let that E6000 dry until it is completely adhered and set into place. And then obviously I do the same for the other candlestick as well. And here it is finished. So give me your opinion. Do you think I should add some rub and buff, gold rub and buff to the edges of these pieces, or you think I should just leave it as it is? But let me know what you think about these in the comments. Now, since we're talking about candles, I thought I would share with you a sweet little candle hack that I saw on, I don't know if it was Instagram or Facebook Reels or whatever, but if you love milk glass and you come across something like this where it's just a single little goblet and you just love it, but it's only one, you can always use this as a pillar candle holder. Just turn it upside down, put your pillar candle on top of it, and you have a really pretty pillar candle holder that's milk glass. I just think that's so pretty. Tell me what you think in the comments. Now, if you watched one of my recent, I think it was last week, thrift hauls, which it was a thrift haul and thrift makeover video, I made over one of the candlesticks that I thrifted, and I didn't have time to do the other one. This was the other one. So I want to go ahead and do this one, but I'm gonna do it a little different than the other one. So I may end up bringing that other one back and kind of tying it in to this one. Now I do need to put a little bit of wood filler right here. This one doesn't need as much repair as the other one did, but I'm gonna go ahead and put some wood filler right in here and let that dry and sand it down before I paint it. I am gonna paint it the same color I painted the other one, but on this one I'm gonna use some transfers. But for now, let me go ahead and use some of the wood filler so that it can start to dry. All right, I have the wood filler sanded and I have everything wiped down. So now I'm gonna paint it with some Dixie Belle paint in the color Drop Cloth. And I did give this 2 coats of the paint. Now that I have my 2 coats of paint on the candlestick and it has dried, I'm gonna use this IOD transfer set, and it's called Fairy Tale Florals. And I am gonna use probably this strand of blue around the edge of the bottom, and then maybe some of these little florals that kind of have the same coloring, maybe around, kind of just around the around the column of the candlestick. So yeah, I'm just gonna kind of be sporadic about it, but let me go ahead and get these transfers on. The transfers are very simple to use. You just take off the backing and lay the image onto your project, and then you use the stick that comes with the transfer set, and you just rub the stick onto the image until it transfers completely onto your project. After it's transferred, or if you see any part that hasn't transferred, you just lay that piece back down, rub back over it with the stick, and then keep rubbing until it's all transferred down. Once it's all been transferred, then you just rub over it with that clear plastic until it's all burnished in, just to make sure it's all laid down flat. Now that I have all of the transfers on, I need to seal all of that in, and I'm gonna do that with some clear wax, and I'm using the Waverly clear wax. And I'm just gonna go over all of this with the clear wax, and once I get all of it on, then I will wipe back the excess with a dry shop towel. Now, I do want this to be a little bit grungy looking, I guess you could say. So I'm just going to use some of the antique wax, just kind of go around the edges. And I didn't wipe back the clear wax because I do want to have more control over that antique wax. So I'm going over around the edges, in the creases, and then I will use that shop towel to wipe back that antique wax where I don't want it, you know, and I'll kind of make it to where it blends in more. I don't want it to look super grungy, but I also don't want it to be bright white pristine. So once I'm finished, you know, you'll see how it's going to look, but having that clear wax still on there just gives me more control over the antique wax. And then I also do keep that clear wax brush handy in case I do need to use it to help me control that antique wax as well. And here is this one finished. I really like this one. I like these transfers. I just think they're so pretty. But you'll have to let me know what you think of this one. I really like that this candlestick is so substantial. You don't have to use this for just a candle. Let me know what you think about this one in the comments. Now, these are the two things that I got from the estate sale earlier in the week. And I think I paid maybe 50 cents for each of them, maybe $1. And they're so pretty. So, but I do need to repair this one. So this is gonna need a little bit of wood glue. So I'm just gonna put some wood glue in here and just put it in there. And I do also need to clean them up. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do to these. Okay, now I hope this isn't anticlimactic for you, but it was pretty exciting for me. Now, about a year ago, I got these two candlesticks at Salvation Army, and I never did anything to them. I never put them in my booth because I didn't know if I wanted to get rid of them. And would you look at how perfect these go together? I mean, they're perfect together. So when I saw these, I knew that I wanted to put this on top of this. Now, this is gonna stay with me. So I'm gonna try, because this is not completely flat, so I'm going to try wood glue first. There is a small rim here. If the wood glue doesn't hold, I'm just gonna put hot glue and that'll keep it. But I'm gonna put wood glue on here and put this on top. And this is gonna make such pretty decor. I can't wait to get it put together. So let me go ahead and put the wood glue on. Since the rim of the candlestick is not completely flat, I'm just trying to get as much on the places where I know it's gonna meet the bottom of that other piece as possible, so that it can have as much glue to connect the two. So anyway, once I get that on there, I'm gonna try to make it as even as possible as well. And then I don't have any way of putting something on it to, you know, give it good pressure. So I just have to stand it up and hope for the best, but it does end up, it slides around for a little bit, but it does end up in the end actually gluing together and staying together. So it was all good. I just love these so much. I just think these are so pretty, and I can't believe that wood matches so perfectly. Yeah, these are definitely staying with me, but I definitely want to hear what you think of them, but I just think they're so pretty. But I definitely have to keep one of them on some kind of riser or books since they're the same height. Now these are 2 candlesticks that I just thrifted from an estate sale. And this one has a little chip in it here and here. So I'm definitely gonna have to do something to cover that up. And I got them for like 50 cents each. And this was something that I thrifted from St. Vincent de Paul a few months ago, maybe a couple months ago. And I got this one for about $1. And they have actually similar lines. So I'm gonna do all 3 of these together. So yeah, the first thing I'm gonna do is take them outside. I'm gonna spray paint them first, and I'm gonna spray paint them a brown just to give them a base coat so that the paint will hold on to them better. So let me take them outside and spray paint them. To spray paint them, I'm using the Krylon Fusion in Satin Espresso. All right, all the spray paint is dry. Here's the little area that was chipped. So I am gonna use this redesign with Prima mold to make these little flowers out of air dry clay. And I'm gonna use those flowers to kind of hide the chip. And since I'm gonna have to do it on this one, I'm gonna have to do it on all 3. And since you've seen me make the molds for the first project, I'm not gonna bore you in me making all of them because I'm gonna have to make several of them. So once I get all of the little flowers made, I'm gonna position them on each candlestick and glue them into place and let those dry. Here are all 3 candlesticks after I have all of the flowers glued into place and the glue has kind of started setting. Now I'm gonna paint all 3 of them with the Waverly chalk paint in the color Plaster, and I've kind of watered it down some just because I'm kind of running low on it and I need to be able to fill these spaces in pretty good. So I definitely am giving each candlestick 3 coats of the chalk paint. Now that those 3 coats of paint have dried, I go over each candlestick with a coat of clear wax. Then I'm going over with a coat of antique wax. To wipe it away, I'm using a baby wipe this time. And I'm using a baby wipe because it gives me really good control over being able to wipe away that antique wax, but also being able to add any extra of the antique wax to any areas where I feel like it needs a little more. Then I do use that antique brush to go back into those roses a second time just to make that antique wax look less clumpy. But I just feel like this just gives it a very pretty aged look. So I think that this looks really pretty. And I really think that the baby wipe helps with giving that aged look and less of the grungy look. And here these are finished, and these turned out better than I expected them to. I really wasn't sure how I was going to go with this one, but I think they turned out really pretty, and I really like the way they turned out. Let me know what you think in the comments. Before we take one final look, I do want to share a Bible verse with you, and this one comes from Psalms 103, verse 2, and it says, "Let all that I am praise the Lord. May I never forget the good things He does for me." I hope this is a blessing to you today. And I do hope that these candlestick makeovers give you a little bit of inspiration for the next time you're in the thrift store and you see some candlesticks that just look like they may need a little bit of love. Take them home with you and give them a little bit of a makeover, just a little paint, some transfers, and they make beautiful home decor. But if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for coming by. If you like this sort of thing, thrift makeovers, thrift hauls, home decor, then this is where you need to be. I would love it if you would be a part of my YouTube family. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Click the bell button so you're notified when I upload new videos. Leave me a comment below, and don't forget to click that like button because it does help me out with YouTube. And if you want to see more videos like this, if you want to see how I've made over more thrifted items, then go ahead, check out the boxes you see on the screen right now, and I'll see you next time. Bye.